What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today for another deck profile, and this time, it's for Sky Strikers. So, over the past few weeks, I've managed to pick up most of the Sky Striker core. I say most, it's all of it. And yeah, I've been kind of messing around with it, seeing how I want to go with it, I guess. This is a DPE build. I've opted to not put Adventurer in here. I know Adventurer, DPE, Sky Striker did very well at the YCS and stuff, but my monkey brain just couldn't figure it out. I'm fairly sure it's because you're meant to just like trade off going second and then it puts a bunch of spells in grave. But I don't know, for some reason my brain was like, but we need to be going first with this because it gives us a negate. Instead, I think I was just thinking about that wrong. So this is a DPE build. If you don't want to play the DPE build, we will talk about as we go through as to what you can cut if you do want to change things like that. But before we do get started, as always, please do remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people to the channel. And let's get on into this deck profile. Before we do get started on this one, though, it is brought to you, of course, by yourplaymat.com, who got us our beautiful NolanTCG extra deck sleeves. These are available on yourplaymat.com, as well as you can get custom sleeves and custom playmats, so whatever you need for the current format. There is an affiliate link in the description down below that does get you a little bit of a discount on your order. Also, enter the code NOLAN10YP for 10% off your order. Also kicks back a little bit to the channel, so everything will be very much appreciated. If you're shopping there, you're getting custom sleeves, custom playmats done. Make sure to enter our code at checkout. But let's get on into this deck profile. Okay, so starting us off, we have pretty stock standard our Sky Striker Rays. So we've got 3 copies of Sky Striker Ace Ray. Pretty standard. You just kind of play 3 of this and you play 3 of the next card. It's 3 copies of Rosé. So 1, 2, and 3. You do play a couple of removal cards in here, so it can be pretty cute to like remove a card from your opponent's extra deck, recur the Ray as you're kind of playing along. Comes up and yeah, it's just a really cute interaction with the way that I've kind of built this deck. It's not like as common as you'd expect, but it does come up. Also, of course, you have the Ray, recursion. All this stuff makes Link once. There's essentially why you're here. You're making Link once, you're getting rotation going, good times. Then the only other monsters we have in our main deck, it is our 1 copy of Dasher and 1 copy of Celestial. I've opted to, like I mentioned earlier, play a pure DPE build. I've opted to play no hand traps and just maximize on spells that can impact the game state. Just because, of course, it turns on all of your Sky Striker stuff. That then does bring us to our Sky Striker stuff. So, of course, our spell cards, starting us off, 1 card of Engage. Because we're playing, 32 spell cards in this list. Typically, this is going to be resolving on the first turn. So I think statistically, it's almost, I think it's like 82% chance or something like that you will see 3 activatable spells as I throw our Widow Anchor across. Then we do have, of course, our Widow Anchor coming through after that. Just your standard negation. This is very much a go second kind of break board kind of build. You can opt to go first, though. There's literally 1 card in here that you would have to change. And then, yeah. So we've got 3 copies of the Anchor. Just steal, negate, good times. 2 pops, afterburners. I kind of flip-flop between playing this at 3 and playing this at 2. Ultimately, I felt as though settling on 2 would allow me to recur a little bit more in my game state because it gave me the space to fit in a Hercules base. I guess we can pop that out now. 1 copy of Hercules base comes up next. I flip-flopped between playing 3 afterburners, 2 Hercules, 1 Hercules, no Hercules base, sorry, for a little while. In the end, I opted for the Hercules base because I'm not playing Mystic Mine. Yeah. It's definitely something you can work around with. Something I wasn't really happy with either way. I just wanted the recursion, given that I wasn't just playing like a Mind Smack with Hayate build. And then we go through the rest of our one-offs for our Sky Striker stuff. So we've got 1 copy of Area 0. Of course, gets your Ray out, can get you the mills from the deck. Gets just general kind of basic searching. 1 copy of Hornet Drones. Another copy of Ray, good times. 1 copy of Shark Cannon, gets that graveyard interaction going. And then we have 1 copy of Multi-Roll coming through after that. Gets us those resets, gets us our advantage when we start to properly get into the grind game. Then we go through the rest of our spells. So these are more like generic interaction-based cards. 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet start us off. You can break a board by discarding 1 monster and then a bunch of spells, and then hopefully you can get to your engage, stuff like that. Although discarding a monster, sometimes not going to work out the best for you. So you might want to bait a negation first, then drop the droplet, sending a spell, and then you can try to build and break a board from there. Also, privy to that, 2 copies of Forbidden Chalice, of course, just standard targeted negation, puts a spell in graveyard. Works pretty much the same way as Impermanent Veiler in this deck. You don't really care what your opponent's building unless, hell, they end on a card that negates spells, at which point that's a little bit of a problem. But Imperial Order is not in the format anymore, so you can afford to max out on a spell build like this. Then we have one card. Oh no, I guess we got more board breaking stuff. Triple copies of Regeki coming through after that. I did flip flop between this and Lightning Storm. Ultimately, in the end, I found Regeki was better because I was playing the continuous and field spells that would remain face up. So I just wanted to play the Regeki to blast that through. One copy of Upstart Goblin after that to give us a little bit of consistency. That card was actually meant to be at the end of the list, but it just stuck its way into the middle. 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talents. Again, more board breaking stuff, or you can use it to draw cards. You can use it to rip cards. Typically, though, you can kind of trade off very well in this deck. So the draw 2 helps you normally a lot more than everything else. Then we have our DPE stuff. So we've got our 2 copies of Fusion Destiny. Of course, you just need it to make your DPE. I have opted to not play Extravagance in this build. Well, again, was a thing that I messed around with. In the end, I've settled on a double Foolish Burial Goods, 1 Metal Foes Fusion line. Overall, this does give you a bit more versatility in what you want to access out of your Sky Striker package at the same time. As well as playing the Upstart Goblin and things like that kind of conflicted with the Prod of Prosperity. There are definitely benefits, though, to switching over to that. I just kind of also got really uncomfortable with banishing a lot of stuff out of my extra deck, which is, again, harpens back to having the Hercules base in here. These are things that you can definitely change and chop around. Something that I'm not playing in my main deck as well as Mystic Mine. I am playing the one Terraforming because I opt to side Mystic Mine in this build. And then I do want to have like a way to access it. This, again, just accesses your Area 0 anyway. It's a second copy of it, and then that hopefully does get you through to Ray. Of course, when mentioning more copies of Ray, we do have 1 copy of Reinforcements of the Army in the main deck as well. And then lastly, we have 1 copy of Call by the Grave, rounding out the main deck because it's just going to help us get through some hand traps and other pesky graveyard effects. That then now does bring us to the extra deck, and of course, it is relatively standard. So we start off with our 3 copies of Kagari. Of course, just recurring back graveyard resources, standard at 3, Sky Striker card. There's no reasoning as to why you wouldn't. Then we follow up with 3 copies of Shizuku after that. Again, just standard Sky Striker 3 of, gets you the ads, good times. Then I have opted to play 2 copies of Hayate. Relatively standard given that I've got the Hercules base. You don't need to play 3, you can afford to fit space into other stuff that interacts better with the opponent's deck. And then lastly, 1 copy of Kaina. Again, just a bit of a slow it down card given that we're not playing the Mystic Mine. Then we get through to our more generic, not generic, I guess it's the opposite, our more like techie extra deck stuff. It is all essentially fundamentally Link Climb stuff. So we do have our 1 copy of Dark, the Dark Charmer Gloomy. Just of course going to be stealing stuff out of the opponent's graveyard, like DPE. Same again with the Wind. Wind's going to be using to take Baron to Fleur, and then that gets us a bit of a negation that we can kind of set up with. Then we have our OTK package. So we've got 1 Selene with the 1 copy of Access Code. Again, like relatively standard stuff. Although the Selene is mainly for like bringing back other things. You can, like I do side Effect Veiler, which really comes up a lot with this. You can, if you're playing the adventure build, it comes up a hell of a lot more where you can bring back the other stuff. But I mainly play the Selene for going through into the OTK with side deck stuff, because I play like Effect Veiler, things like that. And then rounding out the extra deck, we have the 1 copy of Verte, and then the 1 copy of Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. But that does wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations, do make sure to comment them down below. Any changes that you would make to the build. I'm very interested to see what, I guess, I feel as though a lot of the comments that will come through about like recommending changes will be things that I tested. Things that I overall would definitely consider just switching back to. The list definitely, I side very heavily into the things that I would want to be playing in the main deck. That's probably what I'm getting at here. But yeah, as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.